Yo, what's up, guys? I'm back again with another prediction video, and I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. I know I definitely did. I went home from college, spent the week with some family and friends, watched the Bears win twice, watched them win three times in a span of 12 days. So that was definitely one of the most fun Thanksgiving breaks I've had, and I hope you guys also enjoyed it as well. But yeah, it's back to the grind now. I'm back at college. Finals are starting up soon, so I'm gonna hope to get videos out on a consistent schedule still. But let's see. I'll try my best to do that. But yeah, so the Chicago Bears are going to be facing off against the New York Football Giants this week in Week 12 of the NFL season. And to be honest, this last week the media has finally, I think, believed in the hype that Bears fans have believed in throughout the beginning, throughout the entire season so far. You got the Bears pretty much top five or top seven in almost all power rankings. Every NFL show is giving us love now. Our players are getting ranked highly in so many different categories. And it's about time. Like, it took them way too long to finally realize that the Bears are a good team. But we finally proved it with three divisional victories in 12 days. That is something that has never happened before. It took John Fox, I think his entire career with the Bears to get three divisional victories. Well, Matt Nagy got that in 12 days. So, Matt Nagy, you're an amazing coach, and this year is turning out to be very fun. But yeah, so as of the time I'm making this video, which is November 28th, Wednesday in the morning, we still don't know if Mitch Trubisky is going to play in this game or not, which is honestly really surprising to me because I really thought that the only reason he was out against the Lions last week was because it was a Thursday game and he just didn't get enough rest and it wasn't even that bad. Well, it turns out, I guess, that it was a little worse than we expected it to be. So, man, Harrison Smith, you're a piece of shit. But, like, I don't know. What happened, it happened. And let's hope Trubisky recovers from this fast. I think for sure, definitely, if he's not playing in this game, he has to be there for the Rams game, right? And to be honest, I would really prefer him to be playing in this game because I don't want him. I don't want us to throw him out to the Rams just like that, having 2 weeks off. I think he's gonna, very really benefit if he plays in this game, obviously. So, yeah, and let's. I mean, even if Chase Daniel does play, it's not like Chase Daniel is still a very good football player, like he proved to us in the last game. But we could. I think we could easily blow out this Giants team if Mitch is playing. But if Chase is playing, it might be a little bit closer. But let's take a look at the Giants right now. The Giants, simply put, are not a very good football team this year. They're 3-8 right now, last place in the NFC East. They still have a chance to win that division somehow because that division is so garbage right now. But they don't have a good team, and it's kind of honestly surprising to me because at the beginning of the season, with all the pieces they added, I thought that they would at least be respectable. Like I thought they were definitely overrated because people had them making the playoffs. Some people had them making the Super Bowl. And I was like, hell no, dude. Did you see their year last year? It's not like they added that many pieces where they could instantly, make that jump like we did. But the Giants, they do not have a good football team. And the main problem with this team is definitely, I think, the lines, the offensive line and the defensive line. They cannot win the battle at the line of scrimmage. And that really makes things hard on Eli Manning. It makes things hard on their secondary. And to be honest, they just don't have enough talent at skill positions either. You see, like besides Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham, who do they have on offense or on defense? They don't have superstars anymore besides those two. And I really think the Giants are pretty soon gonna move on from Eli Manning because even though Eli Manning is good when you give him a good offensive line and a good defense, he's in the point of his career where it's just he's not playing as good as he used to. And I think that he was always a little bit overrated. Now, Giants fans, don't come after me for saying that. I still respect his two Super Bowl wins. But let's see what the Giants can do in this game. I don't think they're going to do very much. But let's get right into the three keys to a Bears victory. Key number one is going to be play 60 minutes of football. Obviously, unless we go to overtime, which that should not happen at all. But play 60 minutes of football. Play the entire game hard. That's one. If you can pick and choose anything that's kind of bad with this team that's not very good right now. It's the fact that our fourth quarter point differential is one of the worst in the entire NFL. The last time I checked, which was like 2 weeks ago, we were last in the NFL in point differential. Now that might have changed a little bit, but I mean, regardless, we're still going to be one of the worst right now. And that's not entirely a problem because obviously, Vic Fangio, we play a lot of prevent in the fourth quarter because we're up by so much. So it doesn't make sense to, play with the same intensity on defense when you're up by like 20 or 30 points. But I mean, even taking that away, we've had some pretty bad fourth quarter collapses this year. Especially looking back to week 1 of the NFL season. So our offense and our defense, we need to finish the deal in the fourth quarter. If you play 3 quarters of good football and then just, take the fourth quarter off, eventually that's going to come back to bite you, especially in the playoffs. Now let's look at what the offense has to do. I really think that if our offense can establish some type of run game, it's going to be much easier to play 60 minutes of football because you don't have to make, crazy throws, crazy passes the entire game. Now, the Giants are actually one of the worst teams in the NFL when it comes to defending the run. They allow 125.5 yards per game, which is, I think, the 5th worst or 4th worst in the NFL. And they cannot stop the run because they don't have a good defensive line or a good front seven. They traded away Snacks Harrison, which is probably their best, run stuffer. But besides him, they had nobody to replace him. So, we can really, if Matt Nagy actually chooses to establish the run, he can do that with Jordan Howard, with Tariq Cohen, with Mitch Trubisky if he's playing as well. But obviously, Matt Nagy's philosophy so far has not been to pound the rock. He loves to throw the ball. He loves to keep the ball in the air. Even though the Bears actually, surprisingly, do have the 15th best rushing offense in the NFL based on yards. A lot of that is helped out by Trubisky and how mobile he is, but we can establish the run if we want to do that, if Matt Nagy chooses to do that. And if he doesn't do it and we still win, I'm completely fine with that because that's pretty much what's been happening this entire season. Now the defense, on the other hand, also has to play 60 minutes of football. Even if we're playing prevent in the fourth quarter, just make your tackles, make the easy plays. I just don't want us to allow big plays in the fourth quarter because that's kind of what we've been doing this entire season, especially, you look at week 1, you look at the game against the Dolphins, we allowed big plays in the fourth quarter. And even if our defense is tired, we have to stick it out, we have to grind it out, because that's what a true number 1 defense does. And we are a number 1 defense, and we have to prove to the NFL now that we actually can close out and finish off teams in the fourth quarter. So key number 2 is going to be limit the dynamic duo as much as you possibly can. And obviously right here I'm talking about Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham Jr. So the Giants, even though they don't have that much talent on this football team, all of their talent is concentrated in 2 players, and those 2 players are Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham Jr. They have 2 generational talents. They have a generational superstar, or what looks like a generational superstar in Saquon Barkley, and a generational superstar wide receiver in Odell Beckham Jr. Now, normally, if you go against 2 players of this caliber, it's going to be extremely hard to stop them. But if you're going up against a team like the Giants that don't have a good football team around them, don't have a good offensive line around them, it might be a little bit easier to at least limit them. Now, I'm more concerned about Saquon Barkley in this game than Odell Beckham Jr. because even though Odell Beckham Jr. is an amazing talent, we do have a very solid secondary, and I think that whoever's going to be covering him, if it's Kyle Fuller shadowing him, whoever it is, we're going to do a very decent job because our secondary has done a decent job the entire season. Now, Saquon Barkley, on the other hand, even though we have a very good front seven, it's going to be extremely tough to fully stop him because Saquon Barkley is the type of running back that it's extremely hard to just bring him down to the ground. Have you guys seen his quads? He has quads of steel, absolute tree trunk, very thick quads. So he's very explosive, he's very strong. It's very hard to bring him down. And the only thing I'm worried about in this game is if Saquon Barkley, if he can get to our secondary. Our secondary has not tackled very well this entire season, so we really need to make sure that we do a good job of bringing Saquon Barkley to the ground, limiting him as much as we can in both the passing game and the running game. And if we do that, we should very well win this game. And finally, key number 3 is going to be to make Eli Manning make this face at some point in the game. If you guys have been watching the Giants, whenever Eli Manning makes this face, that's when you know the game is over, because he only makes this face when he is truly flustered and just feels totally helpless. And that is something that we can definitely make happen. Now, how do we make this face happen, you say? Well, there's a variety of ways we can make it happen. One is if we get Khalil Mack breathing on his face the entire game. And that's going to be very possible because the Giants do not have a good offensive line. They rank, I think, 27th or 28th in offensive line according to PFF, which is not good at all. And when you're going up against a front seven like us, even if you want to put a tight end on Khalil Mack, even if you want to put 3 people on him, Khalil Mack is still going to find a way to get some pressure on you, Eli Manning. And even if you limit Khalil Mack fully, which is not going to happen, but even if that does happen, you're going to open things up for Akeem Hicks. You're going to open things up for Roquan Smith, for Danny Trevathan. So, again, if our defense can really pressure Eli Manning this entire game, Eli Manning is going to make this face, and he's going to throw picks. He's going to, fumble the ball. He's going to throw errant passes. Like, if we can just get him to run out of the pocket as much as we can, Eli Manning is not a mobile quarterback, so he cannot escape the pressure as well as other quarterbacks can. So our defense really needs to just breathe on him and beat him down the entire game. I honestly think that we can get another defensive touchdown in this game just because of how terrible the Giants' offensive line is and how dominant our front seven and our secondary is. I could definitely see Eddie Jackson getting another pick 6 or another fumble 6 in this one because, man, Eddie Jackson, he's always around the ball, and if somebody, forces an interception, if somebody forces a fumble, Eddie Jackson is going to be there to take you to the house. So Eli Manning, if you make this face, the game is going to be over. So finally, let's get into my prediction for this game. And I actually have 2 different predictions based on which quarterback plays. So if Mitch Trubisky plays in this one, I have the Chicago Bears winning this one 31-13. And if Chase Daniel plays in this one, I have the Bears winning this one 21-10. Now, obviously, it's really going to depend on which quarterback plays. At least the margin of victory is going to depend on that. But I really think that no matter who plays, we are going to win this game, partly because of our defense, but also because of Matt Nagy and this creative offense. You saw even with Chase Daniel, who hasn't played a game in so damn long, our offense was still very explosive at times, and it was just that, Chase really missed on, I think, 2 touchdowns, so that we could have scored even more in the last game. But if he plays this week, I think he's going to be better because he's going to have another week to really practice and, get reps with the first team offense. But if Mitch plays, especially, it's going to be a blowout because this Giants defense is really bad and our offense is really good. And the Giants offense, has been struggling at times, while our defense has been dominant pretty much the entire season. So if you take all these things into account, this game should really not be close. The only way I see it being close is if Mitch comes back and throws a few picks because he's not, fully ready yet, or if Chase Daniel doesn't play as well as he did the last game, or if Saquon Barkley or Odell Beckham break some big plays. But other than that, the Giants are not going to win this one because the Bears have the better overall team, the better overall coaching staff. So the MVP of this game I actually have being Kyle Fuller. I could have really given it to anybody in the secondary because I think our secondary is going to do a phenomenal job this entire game, really because of the front seven and how dominant they're going to be. Eli Manning is going to throw a few bad passes, which players like Kyle Fuller are going to pick off, maybe take to the house. So I have Kyle Fuller having a dominant game once again, maybe getting 1 or 2 picks, getting a bunch of pass deflections, having some pretty good tackles to stop Saquon Barkley. And overall, he's going to have a very good day, as will our entire defense and our entire team. So that's going to wrap up my video. As always, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about my predictions, who the MVP is going to be, who you think is going to have a good day, and so on. So the Bears, being that they're 8-3 right now on top of the NFC North by, I think, a game and a half, I want to say that we don't have a comfortable lead, but we have a big enough lead where we can probably afford to drop 1 or 2 games down the stretch and still win this division. But we cannot let those games be this game. Like, we cannot afford to drop this game because this is definitely a game that we should clearly win. We have more talent than the Giants do. We have a better coaching staff. Our schemes are better. Our players, everything about, we should definitely blow out this team. Obviously, that might not happen because it is the NFL, and any given Sunday, any team can win. So the Bears really have to still be careful in this one. Still play your hardest, but I'm sure that's not going to be a problem because Matt Nagy has done a phenomenal job of motivating this team. But let's go into New York and dominate this football team, coming out with a 6-game winning streak just in time for the biggest game of the season against the Los Angeles Rams. 9-3, let's get it, bear down.